All right, guys. Um, this is gonna be a part one, exploring the missing gaps in the Bible, the creation and origin of all human beings, and how people were created. Okay, so to kick it off, we're gonna talk about what is this chaos creator concept talking about. Okay, so there's three planets that the mother planets of what Mars was created on. So um, I'll say Mars, um, Neptune, and it's Saturn planet. Okay, so like I explained in my first video was in the first lecture I done, I was explaining how the first human beings were created, and I did say Gaia was the beginning. But the thing is, before Gaia come into play, you have to understand that in the beginning there was an atom or antimatter or the spark, or some people call it the substance, um, the God particle. Okay, so from putting this stuff together, what happens is in order for you to understand how the first ever human being was created, you have to acknowledge that the creators of these human beings um, were the Anunnaki. So this is how the story went. The Anunnaki, okay, gods. This is what they did. Okay, this story you're never gonna hear this story from the Bible, because this story don't exist. This shit don't exist in the Bible. It doesn't exist in any religious text, because people don't really know um, how the creation actually started. Okay, so let's go to the Anunnaki. Because there's a lot of misinformation on religion and spirituality, where people uh, are going with this premise that Jesus created human beings, even though Jesus is not older than the beings they claim he created. It's another level of retardation, where people think Jesus is God, even though it was only here for 2,000, 2,000 years to 3,000 years, maximum, as far as his genealogy goes back to. But the thing is, these things we're showing you, they existed about 100,000 to 1 billion years, way before the concept Jesus was even a concept or a blueprint of what God is. Okay, we have to understand that the term God didn't come until um, the term God didn't come until the Greek philosophy, with like Plato and people like that, which shows you that that Jesus is not the real God. He's a God of a species of people that he created as a slave race, and it's got nothing to the beginning. What you get is this chaos, okay? And they even in the dictionary, this is a generic dictionary, so you're only gonna get a very generic um, answer from this shit. Here it says chaos was the first created being Okay, the first ever created being was not Jesus. It was not Moses. It was not Muhammad, or even God was never created. Okay, because this is the beginning, and they say the first created beginning from which came the prime evil. Okay, primitive deities like Gaia, Tartarus, Erebus, and Nyx. So in the beginning was chaos, and chaos birthed Gaia, Tartarus, Erebus, and Nyx. But the thing is, yeah, if you look at this term Gaia, yeah, in the etymology dictionary, this is what they're saying: Earth as a goddess, so which is Earth is a woman, according to this. You can choose to believe it or not, and it even says spouse, which is the husband of Earth. He gave birth. So basically, what happens here? Uranus and Gaia and Cronus were the mothers of the Titans. So it starts chaos, and from chaos, something was injected in a cosmic egg, creating the first ever being, which is the mother of the Titans. Okay, which is Earth. So they're telling you Gaia is Earth here. That's what they're saying. Niggas, the shit is retarded, but you know that's what they're saying. If we go in by if we go in by the history and the metaphysical science behind it, there's this chaos, okay, and that's the first created being, which is this. But the thing is, yeah, it wasn't chaos by itself, because when you look at this timeline, let me show you the timeline of this stupid shit. Um, this shit is retarded, but the thing is, we have to look at this stuff. Okay, this is the timeline. Okay, so in the beginning was actually Cronus. Okay, which is the father of time. So this is when, so that the creation of time was the beginning, and from time, which is Cronus, they birthed what they call the chaos. They even birthed Erebus, Ether, and Cronus. But they keep mentioning this Cronus thing, which means there should be an entity which is above Cronus, which is the beginning, and the only element that we have is actually chaos, not Jesus or Muhammad's or Namaste nonsense. Not even any religion they don't start on this point, because if they did start on this point, this will basically say Jesus was not God, and this will say all their prophets and gods and whatever, they were not in the beginning. So Cronus plus Gaia, we get the Titans. Okay, the Titans came with this. So you take time as an entity. Time is not a person. It's an entity, or a program, a computer program called time. So if they were creating this game, it's like Sims. That's really basically what it is. It's like Sims. So you take time, you create chaos, Erebus, and Ether, and Cronus. Okay. And if you go back, so we got Cronus is the bit where it's time, but the Ether is an entity, which is this. Okay, it basically represents the elements, or this is a program software created in a simulation in a holographic universe, creating death, light, water, ice, life, earth, time, tech, fire, wind, and magic. Okay, so this substance called ether. Okay, this is the substance called ether. This is the element which is used to make programs into matter or physical things or physical world. Every creation can only be created through time, Erebus, which is the darkness, which is abyss, ether. So you take chaos, Erebus, ether, and you inject it into the cosmic egg, and what do you get? You get this, and from this you get Nix, which is nighttime, which is an entity or a program which makes the world feel like there is day and night, but here it's nighttime, which is Nix. And from this, Gaia was created. So Gaia, which is the Earth, so Earth was created from all this chaos, Erebus, ether, Cronus. That's what created the nighttime, and from the nighttime plus this protagonist entity, Gaia came, which is the mother, which is Earth. That's how Earth was created or programmed. There's an actual software program in the simulation. If you take Gaia plus Uranus, which is the heavens, heaven just basically means the sky. If you look into the sky, you see clouds. That's one heaven, and beyond that, that's another heaven, which is another dimension. You get second heaven, third heaven, fourth heaven, fifth heaven, and it keeps going all the way up. Okay, the heaven. This is how heaven was created, and Nyx, um, um, Erebus represents hell, or a place where beings get tortured and whatever. That's where you get Tartarus, which is actually hell, or a place where demons were given a planet to live on, which is hell, and they're used by the Anunnaki to fear mongering people to believe um, they're gonna die if they sin. This is where the Bible comes in. But before the Bible, so Gaia and Uranus produced Cronus, Rhea, and Titans. Okay, Titans is basically these monsters. Whenever you see monsters, that's what Titans are. Okay, so when the Titans were created, dragons also came from this. Fairies also came from this. Typhonian creatures came from this. This also speaks to Cyclops and every single superhero like Superman, Batman, and all the Titans, and Thanos and all of that shit, and Aquaman and all of that. Reptilians were also um, birthed from this. Mermaids. These are real things, because if it's not real, then why are they explaining this shit? Why would somebody just come up and with like a concept and a story to say um, somebody would just wake up and think there is a dragon? Well, this dragon is real, and this fairy is real, reptilian is real, mermaids are real, and Typhonian beings are also real. Okay, um, let's see. What's coming in here? So reptilians were created, and the gargoyles, which are angel, half reptilian. That's how reptilians were created. So from reptilians, they made the gargoyle, which is a human being, um, which is half um, reptilian. If you can tell, this face is reptilian. But the thing is, this being, it has angelic DNA plus um, this reptilian DNA. That's what created this. The greys, the grey extraterrestrials beings, they're basically remote controlled beings which are used to do jobs for the reptilians. So the reptilians created the greys, which is this, to do their job for them. The same way God created us to do whatever He wants us to do. Same shit, the reptilians created the greys to work as a buffer or like a medium, which is in between them and the reptilians, making them superior in whatever universe concept they have. Okay. Werewolves as well were created. I've actually seen this shit, and these werewolves, they're actually about 14 feet tall. If your third eye is open, you'll be able to see them. They normally just be on the ceiling when they come through. But the thing is, they can't do anything to you because it's like a forbidden principle, moral, which governs different dimensions. That werewolves are not allowed to see human beings, and human beings are not allowed to see werewolves. Same way we're not allowed to see reptilians. That's why they create a simulation with a veil where you can't see them, because they manipulate in the frequency so your eyes don't see the shit. Okay. The dinosaurs. I would even say dinosaurs were created from the reptilians because these look like reptiles. Okay. And from these dinosaurs, things like elephants and crocodiles were created from them. Okay. The gargoyles are a mixture of the Anunnakis and reptilians. Okay, so if you take this Anunnaki being and you take the Anunnaki being and you mix its DNA with reptilians, you get the gargoyles. And these gargoyles were created to govern demons. So basically, yeah, the demons are like a gatekeeping system where your brain is not allowed to go beyond Earth or anything that's in this plane of this universe A. That's what happened. So to understand, yeah, what was going on in the beginning. In the beginning, you would get this planet called Saturn. This is where the first black people were living, which is Saturn and Mars. Okay, so the reptilians, these reptilians got together with these entities, yeah. So you get reptilians and these entities. Then you also get the insectoid beings. Okay, show you the insectoid. So you see this insectoid being with the reptilians and the Anunnaki. They got together and they went to Saturn, which is this, okay, and they colonized Saturn and Mars and took over, say, Saturn and Mars, which means they start to own Mars basically. And the beings that were found on Saturn was these people here, okay. So these super jet black people, they're about 30 feet tall. They took their DNA and they ejected it into the reptilian. So they took DNA and they injected it into the reptilian, along with genes of these entities, these light entity-looking things. um, insectoids. So all of these groups, they got together and it went and colonized Saturn and Mars. And from that, in order for them to take these beings as slaves, what they did is this what they did. They created a software which is this. You see this cube here? It's the same cube that's in the film Transformers. So they created this cube. It's basically a computer system, which if you take it and couple it with this with the VR goggles, you get Earth, which is this. So you see what's happening here. You take this computer system. It's an artificial intelligence. That's the best way to kind of explain it. So artificial intelligence cube plus the VR goggles. Then you go to these beings. So if you take this woman, say this woman here, and you plug her into the cube plus the VR thing, you get a simulation of Earth, which creates these grid lines. You see these lines in a grid, yeah? That's basically a computer system. That's basically a perception of Earth or space. So we got space, yeah, coming from this horizontal line, and these grids is this is what gives you the picture of Earth. So you think you're on Earth, but you're not really on Earth, because where you are is actually this planet called Saturn, but you're plugged into a system with these goggles, making you see these grid lines, and these grid lines they're turning software into space, time, nighttime, and daytime. That's where that Nix stuff comes in. Okay, so Nix, Erebus, it's nothing but just programs. It's the same thing with computer science. If you go to computer science, this is how they teach people how to program things. And if you get into animation and illustration of like cartoons and shit, programs like Sims, this is exactly the principles they use to create an environment, a human being, and experiences. So, really and truly, Earth doesn't exist. It only exists in the VR goggles. So you're seeing life through these goggles, which is powered by this computer system called the D-Wave computer. Well, the D-Wave computer is it's like an imitation of it. Okay, so this is the computer system, and this bed that you're seeing, which is like a hospital thing. This is where every single being, which looks like this, they're on this bed, plugged into D-Wave computer with a cube, okay, and these what's it called? The VR goggles giving you a perception of Earth existing, but it really doesn't exist. You're seeing the shit, and it's like a virtual reality. You're seeing through goggles powered by this computer system while you're sleeping on this bed. But really and truly, this is you, okay? This is the true you, beaming a light which they call all spark. That's what they call the shit. Okay, that's what's going on here. So the all spark is basically this cube. So this D-Wave computer system is a copy of this cube, and this cube is a computer system coupled with this VR simulation holographic reality vision created by the reptilians, insectoids, greys, and whatever entities that were before that. So they plugged you into this computer and this VR system to see these grid lines, and these grid lines is what create images or moving images, because you see all this shit. It's like projection. So it's a projector system used to make you think that you're on Earth, but you're not really on Earth. You're basically either on Mars, Neptune, or Saturn. So when people say Saturn is an evil planet, it just shows a level of ignorance and uneducated premise of what people think because of the Jesus shit. But notice this thing here. Jesus is not even he's not even anywhere near this shit, because this is way before. This is like 2000 BC and beyond. Okay, or beyond and before. That's what created this shit. But in the program, yeah, what they were doing, they were creating elements, and these elements are basically you got fungus, yeah, which is a form of bacteria. You see, any group of organisms feeding on organic matter. This is where organic matter comes in. So a fungus is a bacteria, and if we study what bacteria is, a type of it's a biological cell or an atom or a proton. This is the kind of words you got to use when you're talking about physics and that. They constitute a large domain of whatever that is, microorganisms. So they create a microorganism, which is micro means small, innit? So small organisms are typically a few micrometers in length. Bacteria have a number of shapes, so it can shapeshift, ranging from spheres to rods and spirals. This nigga I was talking to from Louisiana, he was talking to me about spirals. So that's basically where that comes from. That's where the DNA shit is created. Bacteria were amongst the first life form. So it's the first life form to appear on Earth, and are present in most of its habitats. Yeah, that's the definition they're giving. So um, basically, if we go to here, there's these light being and creatures, plus this, which is Erebus, plus Erebus and Ether, Saturn, and we got these beings. That's what's creating the Titans, and from the Titans they're creating dragons and shit, and all this shit people call demons. Okay, when people don't know, when they don't know how to explain something, they call it demons, because they don't know what it is. Okay, it's called the fear of unknown. That's basically what it is. And you even see this guy when he puts on the glasses. He sees this, obey. So this is basically the veil of disillusion. The term illusion, that's where it applies in this, or disillusioned, however you wanna articulate the shit. Okay. If we go to Erebus, this is what they're saying Erebus is. It's a deep darkness, shadow covered, was often conceived as a primordial deity representing a personification of darkness. For instance, this identifies him as a one of the first beings in existence, born of chaos. So they're telling you Erebus came from chaos. So Jesus is not even in the picture at this moment. Okay, Muhammad is not in the picture. Abraham, Krishna, and all that stupid shit, that's not even in the picture. It shows you chaos, Erebus, and all of this shit. These elements, that's what came before. But with Ether, yeah, it's basically all of this. Ether is the program which manifests things into the physical. So if you take intention plus ether, that is the substance or the catalyst which activates matter. And to even understand more what matter is just basically atoms in space trapped, okay, using a magnetic field. A magnetic field is what gives the illusion of physical and material things, which this is where matter comes in. Okay, that's how you explain the word or the term or the definition of this shit. But really and truly, you are on this bed on another planet, and if you look at this thing, this is a facility which is created by the reptilians, insectoids, Anunnakis, where they keep all their beings on these beds, okay, plugged into this cube and this VR system, giving you the illusion of living on Earth. That's what they call CGI. That's that's basically what it is, okay. And so basically, all the insectoids created every single insect, every single butterfly, every single creature which is insect-like. Okay, these beings are the ones that created the insectoids. As you can tell, that these beings, they have insect faces and insect phenotype and anatomy. Okay, that's how we explain that shit. On Mars, we got these beings which are sleeping, dreaming that they're on this planet. This is where you get the Bantu tribe. So there's two tribes. Ancient Atlantis, okay, that's Nigeria and West Africa. But it's East Africa, which is basically Bantu beings which have this kind of redness to their face and skin tone and whatever. From my calculations, I would say the Bantu people came through Arizona. Okay, because Arizona is it's like a red place, and they call it the Phoenix and whatever. It's an actual place which mirrors Mars. And in order for them to create the Bantu people, what happened is they created Arizona, and they created a Stargate, okay, a program called Stargate, which manifested these tribal beings. The same concept took place with Nigeria. So West Africa, they took genes from Saturn, and they created West Africa, which is basically the Nigerians, which are ancient Atlantis. And Atlantis is kind of older than Mars, which makes Nigeria the oldest demographically, okay, and genetically, they're the oldest people in the universe, okay. But when we're talking about universe, we're talking about universe A, okay. The Anunnakis that did this shit is Nimrod, okay. He's the one that's behind all this shit. Nimrod, Marduk, Enki, Enlil, okay, and Inyanya, Ishtar. These are all Babylonian names of gods of the Anunnakis. That's what happened. So these beings, the Anunnakis, yeah, they got together with. Let me show you this shit, bro. They got together with the reptilians. The reptilians plus insectoids. let's see if I can find this insect. So insectoids plus these light beings plus the Anunnakis, which is Nimrod, Enlil, Enki, Ishtar, Inyanya, all of these beings, they got together and created the first human being. Okay, so that's how they did it. But the thing is, the being they were creating it was like a hybrid, because that being, it doesn't actually have a soul. So they created the first beings they made were the Anunnakis. Were actually the Moors. So the Moors, so it goes Chaos, Erebus, Nyx, Aethar, Cronus, Uranus, and Gaia, creating the first ever people, first ever beings called the Moors, which are half Anunnaki, which makes them demigods. That's why they're giants, because when you mix angelic or celestial um, genes, you get giants, which is the Moors. And if you go to Sudan, you get large beings that look like titans and the Moors and Bigfoot and whatnot. That's where that came from. From that, they had to create different races. So this is where they started then. So the reptilians, Anunnakis, insectoids, those are the real gods, really. That's what it means. Gaia and all of that shit. They took this rhesus monkey genes and blood and injected it into the cosmic egg, or the black woman from Saturn, or the black woman from Mars and Neptune, and they created the Bigfoot. And from the Bigfoot, they created the Aboriginals. From the Aboriginals, they created the cave people, including Lucia and the Chedaman person. And that's how they created Arabs, blacks, and Middle Easterns, and whatever, different races. So different races. If you're not a pure African person, you're basically a creation of this into the modern hybrid people. That's just what the shit is saying. Okay, and that's how they created that shit. And if we look at other elements which people haven't really explored, this is ether. According to ancient medieval science, ether, also spelled aether or ether or ether, and also called quintessence, is the material that files a region of the universe above the terrestrial sphere. So this is the shit. This is the program they use to activate material life, or basically taking atoms. Atoms are a program, a shape shifting element into creating the universe. That's what the science is saying. This is not my words. This is basically what they're saying. So this is what manifests the material world or the physical world. And how they do that is basically take an atom and you use a program called the magnetic field, and Anubis streams and the belt. That's what keeps the atoms together, creating the illusion or the holographic projection of a world that don't exist. Even though you see it, it doesn't really exist. Okay? And this is the team. This is the team behind this. We got the Titans, we got the Reptilians, we got the beings from Saturn, we got beings from Mars, we got these entities, and we got all of these elements, insectoids and the Anunnaki, getting together and creating a matrix reality. Okay, based on you sleeping on this bed in this factory place. So in this, you see this underground thing. It's like a planet where they keep all the beings they colonize from Saturn and Mars. sleeping on these beds, okay, which are these are the beings that are sleeping on these beds in Mars, okay, and what they're doing is they're plugged into this cube or the old spark, okay, and these goggles. So your consciousness is plugged into this, giving you the illusion that Earth exists, but really and truly you're seeing a virtual reality, which is a projector or a projection of a program acting as something that exists even though it doesn't. Yeah, that's what you see here. There's also like a magnetic field inside of your body which keeps your body locked into a physical 3D being. That's why things like the chakras and all of that shit, that's basically a prison of the atoms or light in atoms, um, held together by magnetism and radiation, giving you the illusion of things being physical. Okay, that's how they created this shit. There is no Jesus is not even anywhere when this stuff is happening. Okay, so the reptilians created dinosaurs, and they took these dinosaurs' DNA and they created um, lizards, crocodiles, anything that's to do with reptiles. That's how the reptilians, they created all of this with their actual DNA. Okay, they also created snakes, crocodiles. Okay, that's how they created that shit. And the demiurge created what we call the lion. So if you take a lion's DNA and you inject it with this snake DNA plus some reptilian DNA, what you get? You get a cat. This is where the first cat was ever made. A cat is basically a lion mixed with snake DNA, okay, creating this cat here and the variations of different cats and whatever. That's how you domesticate. But it's in this point, we're talking about the jungles and shit. So it's a level of mutation which was created by these reptilians. So yeah, that's how they did the shit. So this cube is an artificial intelligence which is coupled with the VR system which you're plugged into, and you're seeing Earth through a software. Okay, but really and truly, this is you on this bed, plugged into this cube with this VR um, software or program, like an application on the phone. You're plugged into this, and you're seeing life on Earth, but Earth is just a program in this artificial intelligence. That's how they did the shit. Okay, so in the middle of space, we're not sure if it's the moon, or we're not sure if it's the Neptune or whatever planet this is. This is where all the human beings are being kept in this. You see this underground kind of like place, factory. What happens is when your chakras open up, you will slide down a coffin. Look, it's something that looks like a coffin, and you will be in this factory thing. And what you're gonna see is this mecha bar thing, which is a multi-dimensional traveling transportation. This is the thing that beams. You see this person is standing here. This mecha bar thing is the thing that will take this person and beam it to either Mars or other constellations. Because of this is an actual spaceship, okay, which moves through time and moves through space and motion, whatever. So what happens is when you wake up on this planet, your body will unlock, and when it does, you will slide down something that looks like a coffin, and you're gonna be in this underground place. Okay, so if you're planning to run away from this Earth planet, this is what you're gonna see. Okay, I'm just gonna give you the advice to tell you what's gonna happen. Your body's gonna open up and you're gonna see this spaceship thing, and when you get into it, you're gonna get to this point. You see this bit, and it's this spaceship. It's gonna beam you back to source self. So if you're from Mars, you're gonna beam back to Mars. If you're from Neptune, you're gonna beam back to Neptune. Jupiter, you're gonna beam back to whatever, depending on your DNA, whatever constellations you came from. That's what happens. You're gonna beam back or beam into all these planets into space. Okay, but this is really you in in this underground place. You see this facility thing. That's where you are on this bed, dreaming that you're a human being on Earth, but really and truly it's just CGI. Okay, Skynet and all of that. Um, so these beings from Saturn, they created the Nigerians or the West Africans. This is where you get your Sudanese people, you get your Nigerias, Congos, and whatever. That's where they come into this. Okay, but really and truly, this whole thing is a matrix created by Nimrod. Okay, ISIS, and it's also created by Enlil, Enki, Ishtar, and Nyanya. That's the whole family of the Anunnakis, plus the reptilians, plus the insectoids, plus these light-looking beings. They enslaved um, Saturn and Mars, creating a virtual reality, which is you connected into a computer called the cube, giving you the illusion that Earth exists. So end of story, niggas. That's where that shit is going. So when you look at Sudan, you get all these tall, large people because these were possibly the first ever beings ever created on the planet is these Sudanese people. Okay, that's why they're this tall, and they have a genetic makeup of like um, the Anunnakis. That's why they're this tall. Okay, and when you go to the NBA, you get to see it, and they even explained it in this film called Space Jam with Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan, it was basically telling you that he came from Saturn or came from different planets, and that's why he looked the way he looks, because he's a direct offspring of the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki created the Moors. So every single celebrity, which is a black here, they're basically the Moors, the children of the Moors. All your Jay-Z's and all your Beyonces and whatever, they are direct children of the Moors. Okay, so they were explaining this in basketball. They were telling you all the shit to do with the Anunnaki. And if you see this Michael Jordan's logo, it's showing clearly this is from Babylon and ancient Samaria, and basically that whole country and um, place. That's where these people are coming from. Okay. There's also an element of the Titans is basically your DNA, which is the gods that lived before Jesus and before the concept God. If you take God, if you take Jesus, the term Jesus and Christ, it's basically Jupiter plus Zeus, the Greek god Zeus. That's where you get Jesus from. Okay, and um, they also created this place called Tartarus, ancient Greek, and this is where the Titans are locked into this place because this is supposed to be hell. According to this, let's read. It's a deep abyss that is used as a dungeon. See, a dungeon of torment. And remember, I was telling you about the facilities and factories and shit. Okay, suffering for the wicked and the prison for the titans. Okay, so the titans came before Jesus, but somehow the titans ended up as prisoners. And from these titans, Zeus took his lightning bolt and turned them into black matter, creating human beings. Okay, that's basically what titans are. So titans are trapped inside human beings or inside a material of fungus and bacteria, creating these human beings. Okay, that's basically what Titan is. This is the story. This is where the story of Superman comes from. If you wanna know what Superman is all about, this is what it's about. Okay, and even when we look at people like Drake, Drake is short for, see, Drake is the dragon. Okay, and here they say Draco, also called Draco, was the first recorded legislator of the Athens and ancient Greece. He replaced the prevailing system of oral law. This is just interchangeable conceptual lens on language and shit. That's basically what that is. Okay, but I told you, Drake means dragon, which means Drake is a creation of Saturn plus reptilians plus dragons, and Saturn, which is represented by Nike symbol, is basically Saturn. If you put this round thing on top of this, you will see this is Saturn. Okay, and they created vampires and shit. Okay, this is where this concept comes in, and the celebrities, they be doing all of this because they explaining the shit, their origins, all the shit created with bacteria. So your skin, the skin is a program that was created from fungus and bacteria. Basically, that's how human matter of skin, held by a magnetic force, created a material, physical thing. Okay, same shit. You see it over here, and they even showed you here in this film called Splice how they created beings. But this is the first stages of what these beings would look like if you're experimenting with this shit. Okay, and we have the Anunnakis here eating off this tree, which they call the tree of life. So if God had the power to have the tree of life, why are the Anunnakis having access to the tree of life? It shows you Jesus shit is just ridiculous. It's cartoons basically. Okay, the Bible is cartoons for grown-ups. That's what it is. And even when Drake, every time he drops an album, somebody from Saturn dies because that's a sacrifice of what they're doing. Okay. So this is the part one to how these things are kind of tying into the other, and the elements which are not mentioned in the Bible is just this. And if they're mentioned in the Bible, they're kind of like briefly and generically explained or explored. Okay, very poor exploration and chaos into all of this. And this is what even the term hypnosis came from this. Okay, see all of these terms. These are different elements that were birthed from this. Okay, but you see they were birthed from entities like Erebus and Nyx. You get this? It's where you get all your dragons and shit. Okay, but the ether is what makes the shit appear to be material or matter or physical. Okay, this is it. This is all there is to it. But I gotta do a part two. It's kind of to get to the stage where who was before the chaos and gods and who's the beginning, because Jesus is not even existing in this timeline until 2000 BC. Okay, Egyptians were not even in existence in this time. Ancient Atlantis was the first, which means, yeah, Nigerians are actually ancient Atlantis, which makes sense why the music they're making is very advanced. Okay, it's because of this. So this aboriginal shit you niggas be talking about, that shit doesn't even compare to none of this shit we're talking about. It's not even a grain of salt compared to all of this shit. Okay, so like I said, inside of you there is a multi-dimensional spaceship which is called the Mechaba. It's like a light spaceship basically. We're using these terms very generically though. Okay, so take that shit with a grain of salt. It's, even Michael Jackson, he had all of this. This is Saturn. Michael Jordan is got the ancient Babylonian symbol, and we got Nike, which represents Saturn, and we also have Mars and Neptune. So Mars represents Mars represents so Mars represents the Bantu people, which is this. So these Bantu people were created from Mars. Nigerians were created from Saturn, and from that they created hybrid people through this process called gene splicing or genetic engineering. That's how they did it. Okay, so all of this shit explains everything, because this timeline is not in the Bible. And together you have to read things like the Dead Sea Scrolls and Emerald Tablets and all that shit. That's so you can see what the fuck's going on. The next one I'm gonna do, I'm gonna explain how beings in the beginning were actually androgyny, because that shit was explained by the it was explained by the Dogon tribe from Africa in Mali. Okay, so we're gonna explain that the whole Ogo thing and cosmic egg shit and cosmic memories and stuff like that. That's what they're calling this shit. But you just gotta understand it.